Hello, crypto. How is everybody doing out there? I hope you're doing well. Look at the smile on my face. This is how excited I am about tonight's stream. I'm Ali Kane, host of the Weekly Blaze and co-founder of Blaze 3 Labs, where we build awesome, fully decentralized crypto protocols. Real fucking DeFi, real fucking people. Boy, what a show we've got tonight. TitanX day 280. I mean, it got crushed. Oh, crushed. All the chat before, but it got crushed. You know, everybody was expecting a dump on day 280. Nope, it didn't happen. Then we're all expecting a dump between day 281, day 288, but nope, that didn't happen. Then, whenever we finally did get some sort of sell off, the community ate that dip. So kind of crazy to watch it play out. All coins in the TitanX ecosystem pumping together. Boom, boom, boom. Geez, you couldn't keep up with the pumps. After being in the bear market so long, watching bags go down, holy shit, there was some serious pumping going on. Oh, yeah. So it's been an absolutely brilliant 10 days. You know, luckily for us, we got to watch our own coins, Inferno and Blaze, enjoy the pump as well. So is TitanX and the whole ecosystem a serious player for the whole crypto market in this bull run? That's the question that we're looking at the answer tonight. And I wanted to get Jake Sharp, the founder of TitanX, back on, alongside another guy we've had on the stream before, Marco the Hexagon, who has been championing the TitanX ecosystem since its inception, with quite a little bit of ridicule from the Hexagons for doing so. So yes, tonight that's the conversation that we will get into, and I'm really looking forward to it. I actually don't know if the guys are here yet. Anybody there yet to join the stream?
Woohoo! Yes, I am.
Oh yeah! Feel the energy.
Oh, yeah, Marcos Morgan is with the bid. Other than that, pretty good.
Yeah, no, look, you two handsome chaps, and then I'm sitting here. How have the two of you been on a stream together before?
Not. I don't think I've streamed together, but of course, when he streams, I watch and stuff like that. I support it and everything like that. But I never got to just be in a stream and just have a real conversation like this. You know, it's mostly on Twitter and stuff like that. But Jake, what's up, man? What's going on? Jake, what's up, bro?
I feel like we're homies at this point. Seriously, whenever I think of you, I'm like homie.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of love in the community. You going to ask him something there, Marco? Were you?
Oh no, I just want to say hello to you too, man. Listen, you and the team have done phenomenal, right? Like, you know, you guys was there day one, helping out the ecosystem just when it was just TitanX, right? And then behind the scenes, you guys was building and building and building. And then you came up with Blaze, and Blaze, man, props to you. Like it's flawless, man. But thank God, right now it's flawless that we know. And it's just been great. It's been helping the ecosystem doing what it does, and people are finally engaged, and it got people busy while we were all waiting for something to happen. And man, kudos to you guys, man. You guys killed it with that.
Yeah, thanks very much. The community, the community, it's funny. You know, I always loved being part of the Hexagon Pulse Chain community. I never really expected to get so much enjoyment out of this TitanX ecosystem. Yeah. Having been in the Jake's mastermind from the very start, where we are now to where it was 2 years ago, it's like, what the fuck? So look, day 280, guys. First thing I want to get a look at, start off, Jake. I want to ask you, the last time we had you on the show a couple of weeks ago before day 280, and the question back then, giga pump or giga dump, and we've actually pumped 40%. Did you expect that to happen?
I mean, it's actually more than 40% from the
much more
from day 280 to now.
Yeah, I think that was the first initial day. It was like 40% though.
Oh yeah.
Wait, 1 second. I think somebody has like notifications on because I keep hitting beam.
Me. I'll double check my end.
Oh, good. Yeah, but it's 140%, so a 2.4x. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good on the doom day.
Yeah, like how like that's one thing I want to ask you, Jake. Right? So when I first met you and learned about the ecosystem, and we saw TitanX come out, and we saw the mints happening. Of course, everybody has that the honeymoon phase, right? Like everybody's in love in the beginning because all type of mints are profitable, long, short, medium, doesn't matter, right? And then we started to see a change where shorter mints not becoming profitable, and then some people and then you see the torches start coming out, but people expect it to always be like that, and then now we're here, right? And then the whole time we're going down, the system's just doing this thing, going through its I like to call it the filter mode, right? It's just filtering out nonsense and people that's coming in and out and everything. And then finally 280's here, right? And I'm not gonna lie. I know you and your boys, I know these guys, I know me and my crew, we're all putting, some dry powder on the side, waiting for 280. And we all had the giga mind, the giga plan. Like, all right, listen, man, on 280s, this was gonna happen. Might drop 70, 90, 80%. We're all gonna jump in, catch that 2, 3, 10, 20x, whatever happens. We're gonna have a big bag, all that. And then we woke up and the thing's up 40%. You're like, what's happening? Like, I woke up, I'm not gonna lie, I woke up. I'm like, oh shit, today's the day. I looked, I'm like 40%. Like, what's happened? I thought it was a joke. I'm like refreshing like over and over, and damn. And then I looked at everything else, and then every other coin was up with it, inside the ecosystem. While at the same time, the whole rest of the market, let's call it the world market, right, was literally down 20, 30, 40. We're just the only thing that's up. I'm like, nah, I don't want to jinx it. I was like, let me stay quiet. Like, it better work out, And oh my God, yo, congrats, man. Like, how did you feel when that happened? Like, what went through your mind?
I've been pretty good. I was expecting for like a day.
I want to say something quickly. This motherfucker does not get excited very often, but look at the smile on his face now. He's starting to feel it.
Yeah. Oh, he says
I mean, it was
great.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was the plan all along for TitanX officially to start after day 280, because that's when the distribution phase is over. We have all the community to build it. We had a bunch of infrastructure being built before day 280, but it did feel damn good. And then you see, because like then the price moves up. Because even my girlfriend, she had like a single. I told her how to do like single side liquidity below price. She had like a nice little liquidity position. Then the price started pumping. All of a sudden, I had an angry girlfriend in my room. That was pretty funny. She's like, "God damn, it's pumping! What the hell?" Yeah, and then it just kept going and kept going. I saw a bunch of new whales come in. Like they funded a bunch of wallets with Binance, and then it bought up, and then all the liquidity positions started exiting, and then they started chasing the price. And that's kind of what you get, because one of my favorite things to look at is a liquidity chart on TitanX. And what you can see is that a bunch of buy orders below price. Because when you look at the liquidity pool, there's only 330K of TitanX up for buying and 1.2 million Ethereum sitting on the buy support side. That's pretty crazy. And you even had that on day 280.
Yep. That's right. Finally, we have way more ETH than TitanX available. Like, that's crazy, Like, don't get me wrong, right? So like this is my mindset, right? Just processing everything, I guess, the past week or two, and just speaking to other folks and everything. I'm like, look, and I always tell folks, right? Like, and I'll tell folks here, right? Like, nothing is granted, right? Like, anything could go up 100x, it could go down to 0 tomorrow, right? And I still feel like there might be a big dip coming soon or not. It could happen or it could not. It could just keep on rallying, right? Like, but what I like about it is that we all year expected this huge dip. And I think the community's mindset was able to mature along the way. So even to say if it does happen, right? Most people was already like okay with it. Like, we understood, like, okay, a dip was coming. I'm ready to buy it, or I'm ready to sit on the side, whatever. But people expected it to happen, right? So if it does come, I don't think people are going to freak out like they did last time, like months and months ago. I think people would just adjust, come up with a new plan and execute. And now they actually have multiple protocols to actually execute instead of just dumping it, right? You have Blaze, you have Inferno, you have Helios, you have Dragon X, you have a couple of the other meme coins on the side. You have, or you could just stake it more if you want. Whatever you decide to do, you could do it, right? And then we have promising other protocols coming in the future, right? So, there's a lot of people that does have TitanX on their side, liquid, right? Or mints coming out. I think when I was looking at Dune, I think like the next couple of weeks to the month, there's still a decent supply coming out, right? And then when I have like big, nice little gaps in between, that's something I've been thinking about, right? But I think all around, like, I think the maturity of the community understands what's happening, And you could tell because even in the Telegram chat, everybody's sharing ideas now. Everybody's like excited. They're hyped up about it. So, yo, congratulations on everything, man. Like it's really coming together, man. It's really like all the gears are really turning and grinding, and everything's like sinking. So that's what's up, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
I
been
mean,
great. So, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Jake.
the main thing I think that keeps the community so grounded is the fact that we, one, have a bunch of builders, but two, also the competency of the builders. Like, in what ecosystem do you have a bunch of builders that are so focused on security? Like most of the protocols have 2, 3 audits, etc. Like Hyper has 2 audits, but basically 5 if you, because it's very similar to the TitanX code. TitanX has 3 audits, DragonX has 2 audits, Blaze has 2 audits. We have, I think Helios also has 2 audits. Like most protocols are either one-time audited, which is already 99% better than most of the things in the space.
Another massive thing though is that you know, they're all fair launches. There's no big founder allocations in any of these projects either. That's and for a whole ecosystem, that is massive. You know, people that aren't even in this ecosystem don't even fucking know what that is. And our whole ecosystem is built on that ethos as well. And that was obviously one of the core things that you put into TitanX at the very start. And the community's ran with it, the builders have ran with it. Great to see.
Yeah, like
100%.
Go ahead.
There's a bunch of things when it comes to fair launch. Because like for example, people like touting that meme coins are fair launches, but they're not. One, the team holds 20%, then the other remaining 80% they put into a pool. And then you have somebody that buys 1 minute before the other person. The other person needs to buy 5x higher. What makes that 1 minute later person 5x less valuable than the person that came before? So I think the only way you can truly have a community-owned and community-built protocol is if you give the community a fair opportunity. And fair is similar cost bases, which is why I think the mining of TitanX and everybody getting a very similar entry, depending on how much time you put in, and everybody had like laddered, etc. Everybody had their own strategy, but everybody got a fair shot. Because the only way you get people to build is to give them a fair share of the supply. Because who the fuck is going to build on something where they own 0.01% of the supply and 90% is owned by insiders? Nobody built on that. So I think we just did everything. It's the purest form of fair launch you can get. And then also, I think we have this unique combination between fair launch, giving community a fair shot at getting supplies so they can build on top of it. They have plenty of incentive to build. And then I think the ethos of developers should get paid is also very big, because building a protocol takes a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy, a lot of just sleepless nights, almost, especially if it's your first protocol that you're building. I think we're one of the first ecosystems that started popularizing this idea of performance-based income, meaning that if you build a protocol and you don't market it, you're not going to make any money, because you make a percentage of whatever comes into the protocol. That's massive. That's performance-based marketing. Because back when I used to run a marketing agency, the way we got a lot of our clients is we did performance-based media buying. So we made a percentage of the profit they made. And we had like an upfront fee of like 2,800. I was even using the 2,800 number back then. And then we earned whatever the client earned. And that was such a fucking good model. The clients loved it. We had incentives aligned. And I was like, why is nobody doing this in crypto? So I think our community is a very unique combination between capitalism, meritocracy, and fair launch that you don't find basically anywhere in crypto.
Yeah, I want to jump on exactly what you said. So, like, literally the past like 2 weeks, like 90% of my disputes on Twitter, you know, with the trolls out there, right, is always the same thing. Like, oh, you know, you have this protocols and this, and they're getting paid because of fees and this and that. I'm like, but guys, let me ask you something. I came from a community, and I've seen it in other communities where, you know, projects get a lump sum of money from the community right away, upfront, right? No shots to anybody, no shade. I'm just speaking as my experience, right? And a lot of these projects, unfortunately, they fail, and they fail within weeks, months, or less than a year, right? And the team itself, right? They're super excited before they launch. Once they get that bag and everything like that, like they're not as committed. They don't market as much. They don't stream as much. They don't tweet as much. They're not there building on top of what they have already, right? Like once they get paid already, a lot of the enthusiasm and excitement goes out the window, right? Because they already got the big check, right? What I learned and what I saw, and I actually got to witness this from day one to TitanX to now, right? Every single dev, right? Nobody did sacks, nobody did any of that stuff. Nobody got launched sum of money up front, right? None, right? They all built with their own money, right? Their own time. Even when it was disgusting at one point where like everybody was arguing with each other and you know everybody in Telegram was just going crazy, they still continued to build. And when they did that, they made a project or a product that's flawless, right? Like it actually works, right? And the only way they get paid, just like Jake said, is by commission, meaning if the product or the project or the protocols don't perform, they don't make a dime. Okay. If it performs, they make a dime. But guess what? Your bags are going up because it's performing. So it's a win-win-win. People just don't understand that, you know? That's why I love like how all the devs in this community, right? They all understand what's the main goal. We burn TitanX, that's the #1 goal, right? That's why we all build, right? Then they have their own protocols, their own projects, their own tokenomics, but it still helps the ecosystem in somewhat. They all turn the gear, right? And at the end of the day, they all earn a commission that Jake allowed to happen. Where you want to build on us, you get a certain percentage, right? The only way you get this percentage is if you actually build and you build for the products or the projects, you know. And they did, everybody did, right? So I think that's what was the best thing you did, instead of not doing that, and then they got to go fishing for the community and asking for money here and there, because I seen that firsthand how that turns out. It's not pretty, right? Because we see it, right? Like it's not, no shots to anybody. It's just not pretty, right? And then you get frustrated with the protocols. We get frustrated. The protocols itself starts to fight, and people start leaving the team, and then that's it, right? Congratulations doing it that right way. I know in the beginning, even Eric from Dragon X got like torn up because of that, about getting a fee. You got torn up for getting a fee. Blaze team he was hearing it the first week or two. That's the right way.
Wait.
Good job, guys.
Ali, I think your microphone is echoing, and I hear a bunch of noises.
ET. Wow, I haven't seen ET in forever. What's up, ET? Yeah, man. But congratulations, man. I think this is the right way protocol should do things, right? Like let people earn commission, right? Let projects earn commission. Who cares if a trade happens, they get 0.1% of that fee? A trade happened because they built that that product, and people continue to use it. So let it happen, man. Just
it's nice to hear you say. It is nice to hear you say that. It is very true. As a builder, I can speak for that. We try to do everything the best we can, add to the ecosystem, and if it performs well, the community, we're here working for the community too. We didn't just build and fucking leave it. We're here every week, forward facing, and we're going to continue to go that way. But the next thing I want to actually just get a quick chat about and see what your thoughts are in sort of the next 100 days of within the ecosystem. Is there any particular events that you're looking at, Jake? Any catalysts coming up? Any particular dates? What do you think the community should be looking out for over the next 100 days?
I mean, there's a bunch. The one big and a public date. The one big public date is day 369, because that's when DragonX gets a bunch, which all buys TitanX on market, and then users have to stake, have to buy and burn DragonX. So 369 is a big one. Helios also gets 3% of that. So you might see a surge in the ecosystem. Users also get Ethereum. They probably, a percentage of them will use it to increase their position. And also after 369 is kind of where we start entering hyper deflation mode. Like we have a couple of deflationary days here and there, but miners are still coming out. We're kind of still sort of going through that distribution phase, although most of that, like 80% of that is done after day 280. And then there's 3 protocols we're working on. X28 is publicly known. No white paper out yet, but that's pretty much built. We're just waiting for the right timing. Then we have the protocol that we're building. Then we have the protocol that we're building on top of DragonX. And then, because there is one interesting thing that I want to achieve, I think is a really, really strong marketing narrative. Because in crypto, everything gets valued based on relative value. So for example, if there was another product like TitanX out there that was worth built and it was worth $2 billion, TitanX would probably be a lot higher than what it is now, because everything gets relatively priced against each other. Yeah. So a 6 scenario would be if we had a build on TitanX project that had a higher market cap than TitanX itself, which I think could be DragonX. So we're trying to push that. Obviously, not financial advice. Could all go to zero, etc., etc. But that would be such a goddamn strong marketing narrative for all the build on TitanX projects, and that would probably drag TitanX up with it, because one, they have to buy TitanX first to get to DragonX. That's one of the things that we're working on, which is why we're building a protocol on top of DragonX. There's also a bunch of reasons not to disincentivize other builders, but the highest amount of holders, the highest amount of TitanX locked, etc. It's like the biggest build on TitanX protocol at this point. And then the third protocol that we're building on is something that will benefit all of the build on TitanX projects.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
And also, the DragonX team is also working on Titan farms. I think that's going to be a big thing, because it's liquidity is basically LP farming, but then in such a better way. Like it's a completely new contract. It has buy and burn built into it. It's unlike any other form I've ever seen because we kind of work together on the tokenomics. Great fucking team.
Yeah, man.
But I think that could be fucking massive because then you get a bunch more liquidity in the ecosystem. Whales can trade back and forth without a bunch of price slippage. All the trading and somehow benefits the ecosystem as well because the LP fees still get burned and they get used to buy and burn, etc., etc.
Yep.
But there's so much coming up. Day 369 is probably the most public day, and then X28 will usher in hyper deflation for TitanX and take it to 14 different chains and go Omni-chain. And then we can conquer the rest of crypto. Right now we're just on Ethereum.
Oh, so much happening, Marco. Anything you're particularly looking out for?
Honestly, everything he said, man. I'm just waiting for him just to bring out the plate so we could all eat, man. Like we're hungry, bro. Like we're hungry, you know. Like listen, man. Like I know X28 is gonna be a freaking monster, right? Like it's supposed to be Shogun and a bunch of other stuff combined in one. Of course, Jake knows the details. He'll release it when he wants, right? I'm still waiting for the details, etc. Right? We all heard what Eric wants to do. He kind of wants to build something similar to like Hyper on top of Dragon X. He does want to do the farms. I'm excited for that because I'm a big farmer. I love earning yield. I love earning passive income. That's why I play with Blaze. That's why I play with Inferno. That's why I play with Helios and all these other guys because it allows me to flip my bags easily. A lot of people I don't think a lot of people understand that you could come in this ecosystem and build your TitanX bags pretty quick, right? You could do one thing. You could either just buy it and hold it, right? Or you could buy it, put it in Helios, right? And then multiply your TitanX bags that way, right? Or you could go get ETH, go to Hyper, get Hyper, right? And then there's a nice ratio to get your TitanX bags back, right? Same thing with Dragon X, right? Same thing with Blaze. Every day you could play with Blaze. You could take your Ethereum. You could go in the auction house, get your Blaze, right? Whatever you end up with, a portion of that you could buy some more TitanX. Portion of that you can leave as Blaze. Portion of that you can keep as ETH if you want an ETH bag on the side, right? There's so many different ways to earn yield or earn passive income or just multiply your bags. I think a lot of people are figuring it out now. I do see more users starting to play with Blaze more, play with Helios again, play with a little bit of everything in the ecosystem. Like people are talking, you know, people are happy, nobody's arguing, people are sharing information, and people are excited to see what's next. So, man, I'm all over the place, man. I'm like just grabbing this, doing this, playing with this, and it's fun because you know what it is, man. We all got beaten up over the year, right? Over nonsense, right? Because we like something, right? And it's hard to convince others like you were right about this, right? Like, look, this is a protocol that's going to be phenomenal that Jake has built, and then other founders together has built, right? And then now finally you get to see all the gears working together, all the devs talking together, all the projects talking together. Everybody in the chat's growing, you know. Dragon X chat is growing, Blaze chat is growing, everybody's chat is growing, you know, in Telegram, and it's like, finally it's happening, you know, like everybody's communicating, and that was the key, right? Like everybody had a strong opinion, everybody felt like that opinion was fact, and now everybody sees like you have to have a conversation, and we're winning, and it's just the beginning, guys. Like it's just started, you know. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, see on that, Jake. Am I right in saying that we've got about an extra 1,500 Titan X holders in the last, well, since day 280? We're hovering around that 12,000 mark. I think I seen today. Did Mike Dean knock up a new chart showing the Titan X holders over time? Did you get a look at that today, Jay? What is the number now? Have we gone up in the last 10 days or so?
We have. I think we had roughly 12,000 holders before day 280. Now we're at 13,500. We had 13,000 unique miners.
Yep.
Obviously, that means 1,000 people disappeared and it got replaced by 1,500 new people. So the ecosystem is growing because I saw Martin on his like TitanX Hub premium. I like the design of TitanX Hub, by the way. My girlfriend uses the TitanX Hub portfolio page. So good, such a good design, so simple. Gets to the point. You see everything. I love it.
Got that. Yeah, I moved from a couple of other places and kind of everything there now. It's great.
Great job, Mike.
I mean, this is just a testament to the community. It's absolutely insane. Think about all the stuff that's being built and where we're at, like when it comes to like relative to other cryptos. There's meme coins that are bigger than this entire ecosystem combined. Like that's just crazy to me.
Okay, here let me throw a quick question in there. Can we build too much?
I think if it's too much nonsense, yes. That's me personally. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think everything needs to fill a unique proposition. Like for example, if somebody goes to the store they buy one piece of bread. They don't buy 3 different pieces of bread. It's like, I go for bread, I buy a cucumber, I buy some cheese, I buy a chicken. I think as long as there's unique value propositions to each protocol, and it kind of speaks to a different part of the industry, I think it's extremely net beneficial, especially if everything's paired with TitanX, but it kind of evolves through the ecosystem. That will be net beneficial. If you just get a bunch of nonsense, I mean, I'm also a big believer in like, in crypto. So Meta, which is what used to be Facebook, they had this slogan in their entire company, and it was called "Move fast and break things." That doesn't apply to crypto, but you can definitely move fast. Even if somebody launches something that ends up being nonsense, it doesn't matter. The market just filters it out. It kind of gets ignored, and because you have to launch 100 things to get 3 unicorns. So the building kind of has to happen. You have to experiment. You have to try things. And I think this is the perfect ecosystem to do it in, because people are forgiving. Also, another crazy thing, like, do you remember Eros? How insane is it that people got refunded from a DeFi protocol? I've never fucking seen that. The first time I've ever seen that is in this ecosystem. Even the fact that it's possible means wrong code, obviously, but like, that's pretty fucking cool. Like, they literally hunted them down in real life. I was like, damn, that's cool. Yeah, but you can definitely build a bunch of nonsense, but out of nonsense, you get a bunch of really cool things that the market really likes. And the only way to do that is to try new things and just throw shit at the wall.
Yeah.
Basically, and then just let the market decide.
Yeah, there's a few massive things coming. I'm actually just even reading the chat. There's a few people straight away. As soon as you mentioned Titan Farms, there's a few people getting really excited about that.
I'm really excited. I know it.
Yeah.
You know what it is, man? Like, so the TitanX community, right? I feel like the Zen community, the Hex community, the TitanX community, we almost all came from the similar tree, right? Like, we all knew each other in some sense. We all came from a certain place. Then we spread out, grew our own thing, build our own thing, stuff like that. At the end of the day, we're all former degens of, Pancake Swap, and we love farms, we love LP, we love passive income. Listen, that's what we did. That was the thing past 3-4 years before, right? So, for us to do that in our own ecosystem, I think that's going to be like explosive, man. I think we're going to see like a lot of traffic hit that, man, and a lot of people that have just coin sitting on the side. People are going to just flood that gates and just play and play. Of course, listen, play safe, guys. Know exactly what you're doing. LP is cool and all that stuff, but you can get wrecked if you don't know exactly what you're doing. As Jake said, it might be it might be different how the traditional way of doing things, but just learn. Always learn before you do anything. Ask questions. There's no stupid questions, right? Like, I always ask questions. I always try to harass everybody I can. So, just ask. Ask away.
Yeah, there's a lot of smart people. There's a lot of smart people kicking around within the community for advice and all that sort of stuff as well. Do you miss, and actually, Jake, do you actually miss the mastermind at all, or I suppose you're far happier building and creating this?
No, this is way better, because when you do a mastermind call, you're only talking to 12 people. Here, over the course of the live stream, it's probably going to be 3,000 unique people. It's way more high impact to have these conversations publicly, instead of just behind closed doors. So I'm definitely transitioning over to doing everything, because even at the start of TitanX, I refused to go into DMs because I wanted everything to be out in the public. I don't like these shadow conversations that happen in the background, and I think that DNA kind of just it stayed in the community. Like, everything happens publicly, building happens publicly, conversations happen publicly. Like, our ecosystem is built on transparency.
No,
I think that's also very unique.
Jake would not answer any DMs, no matter who it is. Like, me and Eric talk on the side. We're like, "Did you ever get to reach Jake?" No. Does he answer your DMs? No. He only literally answers you straight up on Twitter, like where everybody can see it. Like, no bullshit. This is what he does, right? Like,
yeah, hello, motherfucker. I've got unread messages from
moderators, dude.
last year.
Everybody, even moderators of TitanX, the TGs, everybody's like, "Yo, you spoke to Jake?" No, all right, I got to reach him on Twitter in a public comment. Like, that's the only time he'll answer you. But I love that, right? Because, like you said, there's no shadow conversations behind the scenes. There's no insider type of talk, right? Like, you keep it real. Like, and God forbid something ever happens, they open up your DMs. It's proof. It's right there. Like, you don't speak to nobody, right? So I love it, man. Like, you protect yourself, you protect the ecosystem, you protect the user. So good job doing that. That's smart, man. It's really smart.
Yeah, it's also more high impact because you reach more people, because other people can see the conversation. It builds trust. Like, it goes a long way.
There's one question, right? I just want to bring it up because I speak to a lot of people behind the scenes, right? Different communities, all that stuff, and they always ask me. There's always this one roadblock. They're like, "Dude, why don't you just ask him this question so I feel comfortable about it and we'll move on," right? So I know exactly how the buy and burn works. you know, I read that shit, I understand it back of my hand, etc. Right? I understand why it's built the way they do it. Right? They have some other people that they feel like it should be immutable. Right? It shouldn't be to the point where we're able to change the rate of how much could be burned or the time it could be burned, etc. Right? But I want people to understand that the buy and burn, the ETH that's inside of it is not like it's in your private wallet like some other founders, right? It's in a smart contract. So it's not like you could go and just take it out and walk away with it, right? Like you can make adjustments. Yes, you could raise the how much ETH is used and the time frame, or you could lower it, right? Now, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody in the chat or anybody in the community, right? I think it was extremely smart of the way you handled it this whole year, because I fell in the trap in the beginning where I was like, nah, this motherfucker, he just use it, just pump it, right? But I think if you did, we wouldn't have any Ethereum at the moment, right? Because look how the market played out, right? We would have just fed like all the people who wanted it to leave, and that's it. We would have been empty, right? I think the way you used it was phenomenal. It was perfect because of the way ETH played, right? So we still have what, 16, 17 million dollars or something like that, just in that alone, right? And I think because of the way you did it and the way you slowed it down and the way you continue to consistent, it almost forced the community to not rely on the buy and burn, actually do something themselves, make it really organic, you know? And you did, you know. So my question to you regarding that was just my opinion, just to show where I come from on it, was and I think I know the answer. I think once everything's the whole ecosystem, it's flawless and everything's working and syncing, all the gears a movie automatically where you have to touch a button. I think that's maybe when you decide to do that. But what do you say to folks that feel like that?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of things to it. One is
Yeah, I
when you design security. Yeah, for sure, it's a good question. When you design security into a protocol, one, you have to deter against outside attackers. You also have to deter against yourself. Because I'm human. If I see $20 million sitting in a wallet, I'm like, you know, if I take 1%, people won't really notice. And I was like, no, it also needs to protect it against me. And I even have the messages I sent to the dev, like, make sure there's no way at all to get this Ethereum out of the smart contract, which is why we couldn't even migrate it over to V2. So the only thing the smart contract can do is set how often it can run, like every 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours.
Exactly.
And how, like, for example, V1 and V2 are different. V2 is a more improved version. So there's no global cap on that. I think one of the big questions that people have, one of the attack factors that you could look at is, okay, if let's say hypothetically I have a big bag of personal TitanX that I bought with my personal money.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, you could set a single side liquidity position above price and let the buy and burn eat into you, and then have it not benefit the community.
Exactly.
So I want to shoot that down because that's impossible. So the way the V1 works is you can only trigger it at a certain rate, otherwise it gets MEV attacked. So if you would set it at like 100 Ethereum per 1 minute, it would get MEV the living fuck out of. Because like the way V1 works, it doesn't have a time interval. V2 has a time interval, meaning that once you call the V2, it has to go to the time interval before it can ever be called again. V1 doesn't have that. So if you move the global cap by 100 Ethereum, that 100 Ethereum can be called within one block, and it can just be massively MEV attacked, and I will get no benefit. The community will get no benefit. The only person that will benefit, exactly, is the MEV attacker. So there is no way to exit through single side liquidity without getting extremely MEV'd and the rec and everything and having no personal benefit to it. So there's no point in doing that. So that attack factor is gone. The reason the V1 was designed the way it was, it kind of 50-50 was designed, and the others kind of just happened because we also built an improved buy and burn smart contract, which was the V2, which has MEV protection, it has time delay, it has all of it built into it. That was an improved version.
Good job.
Exactly, that was an improved version on the V1. So the V1 has to move very slowly, and it was designed to be a backstop of the ecosystem, so that after day 280, after all the supply distribution is out, because if the buy and burn will run through itself, the future inflation would just drop the price back down and everything would basically go to zero.
Yeah.
So we needed a backstop to the ecosystem, or we needed something to lock it up and release it in the future. Now, the things I'm kind of looking at is the health of the ecosystem. So the overall design of TitanX is to make it so that the buy and burn becomes a third, fourth thought. Like 80% of the burning happens to the protocols built on top of it, and then the buy and burn is just a backstop, a liquidity.
It's a backup.
Basically, just kind of like a liquidity provider.
Yeah.
Exactly, like a backup to the ecosystem. But the end design is all the supplies in existence, all the burning happens through the build on TitanX projects.
Yeah.
And then the buy and burn is there. Because, like, for example, in the Pulse-chain ecosystem, you have a wallet that has 170,000 Ethereum, and everybody's speculating on it. So there's also an element of speculation of like, when is it going to trigger? Because if all the if everything is set from day one, everybody has all the information, it's extremely predictable. Predictable markets get abused, massively abused by males and people that understand the code.
Bots start being created. Everybody starts trying to front run it. Everybody starts to, that's everybody's game plan, is just to focus on that particular thing, just to be the first one in. I get it, man. I get it. You know, I just wanted everybody to
hopefully
understand.
that's the question.
Yeah, no, it answers mine. Like, you answered it the first few months when, you know, you spoke about it a long time ago in your first streams. You know, I know there's a lot of new players coming in, a lot of new people want to build on the ecosystem. So that's one of the first things they always ask me, right? I get a lot of DMs from people in my other communities, and they're like, "Hey, I'm into this. You know, let me explain to me how this works, how does Mint works, etc." But the only thing I'm concerned is the buy and burn. How does that work? Because everybody spreads rumors. Everybody feels like, oh yeah, Jake owns all the, you know, the ETH that's in the buy and burn is in his personal wallet. You know, because they used to other founders having it in their personal wallet. And now, man, it's in a smart contract. Like, you can look all this stuff up, you know. And once they get through that, they're like, okay, but you know, he gets to control it. And the funniest thing is this: this is the funniest question, right? They're like, oh, but Jake has his own mints on the side, and he knows when his mints comes out, so that's when he actually starts using the buy and burn. Well, yeah, cool. If he does, guess what? It pumps the ecosystem anyway. So our bags go up with Jake's bags anyways, you know. So it's like, of course, if you don't have mints out in that moment, you're just sitting there. But if you have liquid, you could do whatever you want with it, right? So it's not like if he does trigger that button, only his mints get triggered. No, dude, like it buys and burns inside the supply. So I just want you to just, you know, speak to the people about that and just get that out, you know, out clear. And, you know, like I said, there's a lot of new users, a lot of people that haven't seen your streams in the past now they get to. So at least
Yeah,
maybe
it's,
help them out,
it's
you know?
definitely good to re-air that one again. It's been chatted about many times. See, the boss man, once you started talking about the boss man came in, has Trevon been crying again? Have we turned him into a TitanX bull yet or not, Marco?
Yeah. So like, I love Tehran, right? So Tehran, I knew him for years. I'm in his personal private chat. Me and him, we go back all the time. We always poke at each other, stuff like that, but I always have nothing but love and respect for the guy, right? And you know, he does bring it up here and there because, and then I think Tehran's very smart where he's been in so many protocols very similar, right? And he gets burnt left and right here and there, right? And sometimes it's hard to trust devs or founders for what they say, is they say same thing to you for like a year or two, and then they don't do what they promise, right? So I don't blame him for thinking that way, right? And you know, so like, all right, I do see him, you know, mention it. I do see other people in the chats and other people in my DMs talk about it. So let's revisit the conversation. Maybe that you know that ease people's minds and certain things, and you know, maybe it doesn't. At least we have the conversation, you know. So but yeah, but shout out to Trey. You know, Trey, you know, he does love the ecosystem. I can't speak for him; he's his own man, but you know, he's involved in it. He likes it. He has his own little big crew that's in it. A lot of people is heavily invested in it and stuff like that. So you know, it's good. You know, we get more eyes in our ecosystem. We get more players in our ecosystem, and you know, it's always best when, you know, the top influencers are knowledgeable of exactly what they're talking about. So it's very important. So yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things that really kicked us as a team, as a Blaze team to build, was just we get fed up with, you know, Richard Hart, Jack Levin, you know, saying that we're going to do things and then changing their mind and keeping everybody hanging on, kind of like what we're trying to do in this ecosystem. You know, Jake's trying it, we're trying it. It's just to say you're going to build something, build it and build it properly, and then, you know, it's everybody can play with it. It can't be tweaked, it can't be changed. You know, so yeah, that's definitely a core of the ecosystem. So yeah, you're obviously excited for the bull. What do you think long term for the bull run, Jake? Do you see you used to talk about timing analysis a lot. You see everything ticking along as always expected. We got a bit of a black swan there last week, a bit of a big dump in the market with you know, the Bitcoin taking a tanking a couple of weeks ago. You know, is that the last sort of black swan? Everything, all your timing analysis, that all playing out the way you kind of thought? I'll ask you as well, Marco, your opinion afterwards. You know, is it
I'm curious to Jake's opinion on the market. Like, what is he saying? Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah. So to finish off the buy and burn topic,
Sure.
Trainwood's main concern was putting single side liquidity above market and letting the buy and burn eat into it, which is completely impossible with if you want. So that one doesn't matter at all. The other stuff is just genuine questions. It's totally fine to ask him. And then when it comes to the market, usually what happens is Bitcoin dominance needs to hit around 60% for all coins to really start running, because Bitcoin dominance has to slow down for the rest of the market to catch up. So Bitcoin dominance needs to hit 60%. That's roughly around like 57.5. It looks to be heading very, very close to 60. You might do it in September. And then usually when Bitcoin dominance starts trickling down, that's when altcoin season starting. And also there's also an interesting correlation between like Fed rate cuts and the altcoin market starting. So the Fed rate cuts apparently are happening in September. Obviously, there's all probabilities, but Fed rate cuts are usually an indicator of altcoin cycle starting and Bitcoin dominance stopping.
Yeah.
So August, September is basically where it should be ending. And then the rest of the cycle is where you get alt cycles. And alt cycles usually happen in two waves. You have wave one, where everything goes up massively, and then you have wave two, usually the different coins. So in wave one, a bunch of coins go up on a certain sector, and then in the second wave, a different sector kind of goes up. But the bull market, if you overlay the cycles, it's extremely, extremely similar. Even with all these recession fears, etc., everything that's happening, all these cycles play out the exact same. If you just focus on the timing, you're good. And historically, altcoins don't run in the beginning, directly after Bitcoin halving. It usually comes later on.
Yeah.
Especially after Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance needs to stop, and then the money starts trickling into altcoins. And since Bitcoin is such a massive market cap, even if only $100 million comes from Bitcoin and injects into these DeFi markets, the liquidity pools are so thin, you might just get a 20, 30x across the entire DeFi market with a very, very small amount of money entering because the liquidity pools are so tiny.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
What do you think, Marco? This how this cycle's playing out?
Yeah, I agree. I agree to same what he said, right? Like that's what everybody thinks, right? Everybody looks at the previous patterns, and everybody thinks, 2025 is, when the bull market happens, right? Like the way I expected 2024 to play out was like a staircase, right? Like we're gonna get a bunch of corrections, we're gonna get a few pumps and a bunch of corrections. It's still gonna be the accumulate phase, right? And so far, it played exactly that way. The market goes up a little bit, and then off. The market goes up a little bit. It's just, I feel like it's washing people out, and then it's getting ready to prime, right? Of course, we don't know what happens with the election. The election could play a big key to everything, right? Like, and even if let's say Trump does win, they please God let it happen, right? If it does happen, right, you have the previous administration there for another like month or two after, so it might take a little time before things start to kick in, leading up to 2025. But that doesn't mean that this ecosystem cannot, right? Like we showed, and whether it's a fluke or not, we show like while the whole rest of the market was tanking, we was primed and we started going up, right? So anything can happen, right? But just be ready. Like know know your plan, know what you want to get invested in, right? Start planning now. So when things start kicking off, you're not scrambling and making mistakes, right? Because you could lose your money just like this, right? We've seen it all bear, right? Like just when price is going down, people are freaking out, sending it to the wrong contract. They lost 30, 40, 50K, just like that, So just be smart of what you do, just have your plan. You don't need to follow the herd. It's just stick to your thing, So that's just my thing.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
just ready, man. I'm just ready. I'm just accumulating, relaxing, getting excited. I'm waiting for Jake and the crew just to give us farms, give us everything. I just want to play, And but I'm happy where we at, man. Like it's now I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, like this ecosystem is blooming. It's finally happening, and it's working, man. It's working. And so we have a lot more work to do. Listen, I think the number one work we gotta do, man, is marketing, right? I think, and this goes to all the teams, right? I think all the teams need to kick it up a notch. Listen, the Blaze team, you guys have been great, right? Like you have your current streams going, you have your tweets, you have your Telegram going, stuff like that. Kick it up a notch. Look at Eric. Eric was everybody hated Eric. Eric was anti-social. Like everybody was like, Eric, he took our stakes over that stuff. But now people are tuning into his stream. You're getting to know that Eric's human. Like they actually liking this guy, right? He's making some great tweets. He's visiting some Zen spaces, He's trying to make friends, not enemies, And I think every single person as builders should be doing that, right? And this is to everybody in the Telegram chats, the hyper chats, all the other chats, right? Like, guys, share your excitement, right? Share your downfall. Like, share like it was a struggle for months. Share that. People need to know it happens, but then share like everything came together. Your mitts are green again. This is what's happening. Show your screenshots like we used to do, right? It works, And to all the people who remove the green circles, put those shits back and come back on board, bro. I noticed, I saw it, I noticed, so. But
I had see Jake sharing those all the time. I had like I think my got like 10 new followers in the last day on my own Twitter, and they all had every single one of them had a green circle. I actually screenshotted it. I'll have to share it for you, Jake, so you can see that one.
Yeah.
I mean, the awesome thing about the green circle is just imagine the scenario. You're a crypto builder. You start getting into the TitanX ecosystem. You make a tweet, and all of a sudden you see a bunch of green circles in your notification where you're engaging with this community. How freaking sticky is that?
Yeah.
That's just it's a marketing gimmick, but it works. It just works. Like, it's called color branding, but it shows, okay, this community actually cares. You get like a bunch of like green circles, 10 green circles in a row. You call it a bingo. You post it on Twitter. It's cool. It's fun. It allows you to identify. Like, for example, if somebody wears a "Make America Great Again" hat, if they see somebody else with the hat, it's like, oh, we're homies, you know. Or if you see somebody wearing like MMA shorts and you train MMA, you see somebody else with MMA shorts, oh, we're homies. It builds a relationship incredibly quickly, and it's sticky for the people that come into the ecosystem, especially builders. Because if builders see that type of support at the start, all the green circles, they don't get that in any other community. It's just a bunch of random profile pictures. You don't know.
Yeah, man, it motivates them. It gets them excited. Like, oh shit, there really is a community. Oh, look at all these green circles. You know, like it really works. And not only that, but we stand out. Like when you see those green circles, I don't see that many communities do that at all, right? Like you really stand out. It pops, and it's right there. It literally pops. You know, so like I said, man, we just need the marketing guys. Share your excitement. Share your just share your just everything you have, man. Everything you went through all year. Just post it, man. Like people need to know about it, right? So and not only that, but you don't need to have a YouTube channel, guys, right? Like you could be walking your dog down the block, turn on your phone, a 2-3 minute video, just talk how you feel about the market. It helps, man. Those things, like videos, get the most engagement on Twitter by far, especially organic, like selfie type of videos. You walking, it gets it, man. Just talk about it. Even if you go like this, showing your computer in the midst, and go like, oh my god, it's up. I'm telling you, those things work, man. Just go out there and do it. And trust me, nobody gives a shit who you are, how you look, how you sound. Like, don't be like, oh my god, I'm gonna look like a nerd. I'm gonna sound stupid. Like nobody cares about that. Trust me. The most famous people look retarded. They sound retarded. All that stuff. You're fine. Just do it, man. Like, don't worry about this nonsense. Like, just go out there, man.
Just get out there. See Mo starting to stream quite regularly now as well. It's good to see him step up as well. But yeah, anybody in the do feel free to feel confident enough just to step up and throw your opinions out there. I thoroughly enjoy doing it, and you probably will too once you start. So look, we'll move on to the build on Titan X protocols, Hart's Law, and how everything moved up together.
Working, baby.
It was kind of crazy to see the way everything really did pump together. Now we know that the liquidity bonding and all that, the way it works, but to see it play out so plainly and clearly, what are your thoughts on that, Jake? How that played out and how it looks, and what that bodes for the future of the ecosystem as we do run through the bull run?
I mean, liquidity bonding is a very advanced topic. So I think I have an example to dumb it down, like a metaphor. So what you price things in matters. So if you're linked to Ethereum, whatever the Ethereum price is, so let's say your coin is worth 0.1 Ethereum. Ethereum is $2,000. Your coin is now worth $200 because it's 10% of Ethereum, 0.1. If Ethereum goes to 3,000, you're still worth 0.1 Ethereum, but Ethereum is now $3,000. So you went up 50% because at 10% of Ethereum, your ratio against Ethereum is now $300. So you went up 50%, even though nobody bought or sold your coin. You just went up with Ethereum because you're worth 0.1 Ethereum for every token you have. With TitanX, it's the same because when you pair with TitanX, since it's way, way, way easier to move TitanX than it is to move Ethereum, it's much lower market cap. It doesn't have all these insiders and massive whales and etc. It doesn't have all that baggage weighing it down. It's not the second biggest crypto in the world, so you get way more price performance out of a lower liquidity, lower market cap thing. That bonding your token to it, you get all the upside. So, for example, you have a piece of paper. There's like a thousand tokens, 1,000 pieces of paper. Every piece of paper is worth 1 TitanX. 1 TitanX is 1 cent, for example. If TitanX goes from 1 cent to 10 cents, your piece of paper is now worth 10 cents because one piece of paper is 1 TitanX, and that TitanX is now 10 cents. So you went up 10x without your coin ever doing anything because this piece of paper, your token, is worth 1 TitanX, which is 10 cents. So as TitanX moves up in price, everything moves together in the ecosystem. And this is another big thing about liquidity bonding is for everybody to get into the ecosystem, they have to go through TitanX first. So you get this double buy effect. Now we built it into protocols like Hyper, like the Ethereum enters Hyper. Ethereum, basically 100% of the Ethereum buys TitanX, and burns the percentage, buys Hyper. But that's important because you get a double buy effect. So let's say, for example, TitanX is 1 cent, and your token is paired with, let's call it Bear. You have TitanX Bear in the liquidity pool. for somebody to buy Bear, they have to buy TitanX first. So let's say they buy TitanX. TitanX goes from 1 cent to 2 cents. Bear is now by default up 100% because it's priced in TitanX. And now they have to buy Bear, which increases how much TitanX one Bear is worth. So instead of one buy having only a small price impact, now you have the TitanX price moving up, which increases the value of it, and you get the Bear price moving up because one Bear is now worth more TitanX because somebody moved the Bear. So instead of one buy having only one price impact on one token, you get one buy pushing up the price of Bear, and then if they buy Bear, then you get a ratio improvement. So if it's now worth 1.2 TitanX, now it's worth 1.2 cents. So that also moves at 20%. So now you get like 120% move across one buyer. And the other cool thing is if somebody buys TitanX to buy Bear, by the fact that they bought TitanX, it moves up everything else in the ecosystem that they didn't even want to buy because it's all priced in TitanX. So whatever ecosystem people come into that they want to buy from, like for example, if somebody wants to buy DragonX, by them buying DragonX is pushing up everything in the ecosystem because the TitanX price moves. It's fucking genius.
Heavily bonded with
Yeah.
phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
It's really smart. It's really smart what you made. And the way you did it, like really, really smart, man. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen other ecosystems talk about it, but then they don't do it. Like it's one thing to talk about it and know about it, and there's another thing to just do it. Like for example, when in the Zen ecosystem, the founder doesn't even build on fucking Zen. How do you expect the rest of the community to build on it? Like it's fucking ridiculous. I like Jack as a person, but like, come on, it's like you want people.
That's the biggest complaint.
You want people to build, and you don't even and you don't even build on your own thing.
Not only that, like I think my biggest complaint, and I don't want to make this about him. Like I said, I like Jack on the side. Like me and him be poking each
I
other.
as a person, I think
everything. He's a good guy and anything. But my biggest thing with him was one, you really don't build on top of your own thing. When you do build things, it's really sporadic. They really help each other, right? And not only that, but throughout your building, you're not even like announcing or showing love to the other projects building on your stuff. Like how can you get excited for building on an ecosystem like that when you feel like you're the only thing doing there? It sucks. And in here is not like that. Like everybody cheers everybody on. Like it's completely different. And like you were just talking about how the LPs and everything works. That's why I fell in love with Vortex. The Vortex is like a freaking steroid shot to Hyper, and a lot of people just don't understand Vortex. And that's why like everybody's like, you're crazy for loving Hyper. I'm like, yeah, I understand Hyper dropped down really fast, but look how quick it got back up, right? In a staircase motion, not just a rocket. That's healthy, doing it that way. And and you see, like out of nowhere, you look at, remember with Hyper at one point it was empty, right? Like both buy and burns, everything, the Vortex was almost empty. Now look what's in there. A lot of people forgot about what's in there, and when it's prime, and the shit's gonna take off, and start seeing the ratios switch again and go higher and higher. So you just gotta be ready for it. And I think a lot of people who understood Hyper, how it works, Jake, Vortex is the shit. Like people really like it. Like when they finally understand how it works, they're like, oh man, like this is cool, like it's congrats, man. It's really, really good. It really is.
I mean, the idea for the Vortex came from how do we fix the buy and burn V1 in time? How do we make it decentralized? And that's where the Vortex idea came.
Yeah. Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah, so as a builder, it's been great. We do as a team, we come up with ideas, and like you say, it is hard to get Jake on a one-to-one sometimes, but he always makes time to to meet us, discuss what we're building, see if there's tweaks that can be made to come up. He has obviously a great overview of the whole ecosystem, where it's going. Yes, people can come up with things out of right field, but he's always there to give a little bit of advice and maybe offer a few tweaks that could be made. So that if there's other builders out there, I know, do you want other builders contacting you, Jake? I know Eric's always up to discuss building things as well, and the Blaze team are always up for discussing everything. But that's would you want to continue people reaching out to you if they are building in the ecosystem, or just go ahead and do it themselves?
I mean, most people have done it themselves. Like even Eric from DragonX, we didn't talk about DragonX only when it was like built, and then I think we made a tweak to the liquidity pool, like the double buy thing. Other than that, nobody really talks. Like even dude from Helios, we were talking when it was basically done. Most people just build. That's the cool thing. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but it's almost impossible to keep up with like all these conversations. I have conversational threads, so it's easy to catch up. other than that, everybody has just been building decentralized, even Baby Dragon X. I didn't know anything about that. I just knew it when it launched.
That was
And
great.
that's cool.
Really happy to see that pump as well. You know,
man.
James has been a stalwart for the ecosystem, turning up to the, you know, even in the when everything was down in the doldrums and you know there was no hype, there was nothing happening. He was there in the spaces every week, you know, giving updates to the community, and so I'm really happy to see his coin pumping and you know getting a little bit of recognition for all the effort that was put in. Great to see.
That's why I gave them like that's why I put a tweet out a couple of days ago regarding Baby Dragon X, right? Because he was extremely happy about that, and of course, like it's hard to launch something, especially when everything's in the red and community is a little down and stuff like that. It's hard, right? And you know, he built on it. He stuck by his guns, and you know, he kept on talking about it over and over, and you know, it did well. You know, it's attached to Dragon X. It has like half the supply of Dragon X, right? Like, and it's a great meme. Like, this is what I like about this ecosystem, right? Like, the meme coins that people are building are like better meme coins than everything else, right? Because they're not just a meme coin; they actually have utility or functionality to them, you know. And like Inferno, everybody's like, "Oh, that's the meme coin." I don't see it as a meme coin, guys, right? Like, I see it as a better coin than most coins out there, right? It has 90% burn. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's I think 90% burn, buy and burn, right? Like, it's doing extremely well. It's doing phenomenal. There's I think we're about to hit third or fourth mint phase, I think of it. Right?
Fourth
Like,
coming up this week, but yeah, it's a 5x or 4.5x up off the low in 10 days as well.
great, man. Like, it's really doing good. I think it's under just only 200 holders, 250 or something like that.
Not
Like,
even, it's
it's
100
so young, it's so
180.
fresh, right? Not financial advice, guys. I'm not telling you guys to FOMO into anything when I speak about these things, right? I just like to speak about what I like. But these are great opportunities, man. Like, and that's why I always post about that 1% bag of Dragon X, right? Because you know, a lot of people hated on it, a lot of people thought it was a joke, a lot of people make fun of it, and it was so cheap to grab 1%, and 1% is worth like close to almost 200K. Like, it's phenomenal. It just, and it does it like this, guys, right? Can't promise you it's going to continue to do that or any other coin is going to do that, but you know, just understand the function of the utility of these coins, and then you know, if you like it, go for it. You know, and I just like how even though the simple coins, the rest is the complicated protocols we have in this ecosystem, they have function and they work together. You know, they help each other. You know, like they burn the main coin, they burn the main thing, and that's why when you want to call it Jake Law, right? If when it happened, everything got pulled up with it, right? From the most advanced coins to the most simple coins got pulled up because they all listen, they all work together, and look what happened, you know. So it's beautiful, man.
You want to know something crazy? Is so I think Baby Dragon X went up 22x off the low.
Yeah.
In what period of time? Wait, let me check. So
I think under 10 days.
22x in 16 days. Now here's the crazy
I
part.
was close, man. I was close. Look at
that. Yeah, 22x in 16 days.
Man.
Now the crazy part is, so Baby Dragon X is bonded with Dragon X, and this is a perfect example of this liquidity bonding thing.
Yep.
Titan X moved up 2.5x. Dragon X moved up 3x against Titan X in Titan X ratio. That's 2.5 times 3, which is roughly 7x or whatever. And then Baby Dragon X moved up 50% against Dragon X. It only had a 50% move in the Dragon X ratio, but since it's like a lever effect, it had a 22x in total because it got the fee to 2.5x of the Dragon 2.5x in Ethereum, then the 3x of Dragon X versus Titan X, and then the 50% of Baby Dragon X versus Dragon X.
Yeah.
So on like 10K in volume, it did a 22x.
Yep.
That's how crazy these things can get.
Yeah.
But that's liquidity bonding is massive.
You know, and it's funny, like you like to say how Titan X, it's a play against Ethereum, right? And we saw it.
Yep.
We actually saw it this past 2 weeks, right? Happening. Dragon X is a play against Titan X, right? And Baby Dragon X is a play against Dragon X, right? It just shows you that even though they're in sync together, they are a play against each other, but they all move up with each other. So it's freaking dope, man. Like,
yeah, proof of sleep in the chat there. Imagine ETH went up as well instead of down in that time, you know.
Right? Like, even better, right? Like, later, ETH is going to do his thing, and when it does his thing, we're going to be ready, right? And like, it's going to be beautiful, and that means all the buy and burns go up, right? Dragon X gets a huge amount of that goes up. Everything goes up, you know. So even one of these coins go up first, they all get pulled up with it. So I'm with it. I'm ready. I'm strapped in, man. Let's just go, man. You know, like, I'm ready.
The 1% thing is a great. You know, we've actually took that one and run with it because people can still get their 1% bag of Inferno quite not easily, but it's there for the taking at the minute, and we're promoting that. But you know, not financial advice. I want to ask you, Jake. You know, it's easy for us sitting here. We've been kicking around the ecosystem long. Everything's pumped. We're all having a great time here at the minute. But what about, and just if you've any not financial advice, but just things to think about for new people coming into the ecosystem. So you're coming along. You've got a, you know, you're looking to get involved in the ecosystem. How do you start? You know, it's easy to make the wrong moves in crypto. And I'm not talking about financial advice, but you know, where's your starting point within the ecosystem? There's so much going on. You want to buy TitanX, you want to buy DragonX, you want to buy Blaze, Inferno, Helios, Baby DragonX. Where do you actually? How do you start? There's just so much going on. Somebody new coming in could be easily overwhelmed. What can we say to break it down to help people kind of ease into the ecosystem? Because there are a lot of eyeballs coming now. Any advice? Obviously not financial, but just any advice for people that want to get involved in the ecosystem? Jake, you want to tackle that first?
Buy TitanX. That's the easiest way then.
That's it.
Yeah. And well, when you're done, go ahead.
I think the two easiest one. It depends on your character. If you're more active, you can do liquidity providing between like ratios, etc., etc. It depends on what your goal is. If you just want to buy something and hold it, TitanX, DragonX, those are good. If you want to be more active in auction, then you're here in crypto anyway, then you do the 24-hour auction thing. If you want to do mining and you just want to kind of set it, forget it, and come back to miners, you hyper. There's a bunch of entries into the ecosystem, but the easiest one is just buy TitanX. And if you just want to really forget about it, just buy DragonX. And just because it's a thing you hold, there's nothing to do with it. It's literally just you hold. It's kind of like a store of value within the ecosystem. Exactly. And then you have time to learn. But TitanX is the entry anyway. You'll end up buying TitanX one way or the other. Because if you want one of these, you have to go through this door first. So like TitanX is always your first step. And then you have time to think and learn, and you're following the ecosystem anyway, because everything's priced in TitanX. So you're not falling behind, you're just having TitanX.
Yeah, I mean that's great. You simply, you know, you do, you know, start off buying your little bag of TitanX, your big bag of TitanX, and that gives, like you say, that gives you time to, you know, look at what's going on in the ecosystem. There's no real rush, no real panic. You know, we're all here for a while, so yeah, no need to panic. Marco, you any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll jump on what Jake said. What he said was 100% key, right? Like to enter this ecosystem, you have to have TitanX, right? If you want to play any other token or project, whatever it is, you have to have TitanX because that's the least slippage you're gonna have playing or entering any of these protocols, right? It's the main coin, it's the core of everything, right? It's the holy grail, right? So you get it, you get TitanX, right? And they say you're still not sure to play with. Oh, should I jump into DragonX? What the hell is that? Should I play with Blaze? What the hell is Inferno? What is Helios? What is this? At least while the market is doing its thing, and if one of these coins or 2 out of the 5 coins go up, you're gonna go up with them because you're holding on to TitanX. It's the main coin. You understand what I mean? So you going along the ride, you are happy and you have time and you're not stress-free. It's not like, oh my God, everything else is happening. Nothing's really attached to each other. I'm sitting on this coin, and then people make more mistakes, right? They get to get this bag, they get to sit down, they get to research the protocols, and then they start to DCA into these protocols and play and stuff like that. At least they have their main bag. Second thing I would do, right? And this is what I tell all my onboards and everybody is you go and you search for Mike Dean. Okay. Mike Dean does the best videos out there. He does the most simplified videos out there, and he does it with visuals and with communication. I don't think I've seen anybody break down a complicated protocol as easy as he does. So what you need to do, so if I'm curious about Blaze, Mike Dean and Blaze, boom, just watch that video, right? Mike Dean and DragonX, boom, watch that video. Mike Dean and TitanX, watch that video, right? He breaks it down fluently. And not only that, go to his spaces. He does spaces, guys, right? Like Mike Dean does spaces and he speaks to people. He answers questions. A couple of people do that. They have Telegram chats, stuff like that. But start there, right? Grab your TitanX back if you want. No financial advice. And then go to Mike Dean videos and then play a little bit. Don't throw your bag into things. Play with a tiny percentage. Learn the protocol. And once you like that protocol, if it's for you, then you go in. Just not try something else, or just like Jake said, just hold on to the damn coin. You don't have to do anything, So But that's my advice to people if you want to play with it. But we have great people, great educators here. You have tons of videos you have time to watch, so do that.
Yeah, nice, good thoughts. Anything else to add, Jake, there before we move on?
No, that's good.
All right. What's obviously the ecosystem is blooming. What as the founder of the ecosystem, Jake, what's been the number one thing that you've really seen play out that's made you really happy the way it's happened?
Everything being paired. Yeah, because that's community education. Like, it's kind of like the enforcement of the build on Titan X kind of ethos. Because if it's not paired, then you force people to sell down the ecosystem to enter another siloed off ecosystem, and then you just get a drainer instead of something that adds value to everything in the ecosystem. So I think like the educational, like the build on Titan X ethos, fair launch, pair the Titan X, etc., that has people just took it. Usually you have to like kind of like force it into people. People just took it. They're like, oh, I understand that this is good. Okay, I'll do it. That was really good to see. And the other kind of interesting thing is oftentimes I catch myself not even thinking of myself as the founder. I'm like watching streams. I kind of feel like a user. And then I'm like, wait, what the fuck? I created this thing.
That's cool. That's organic, that's real. Cool.
Yeah, but it's weird because I was even talking to my girlfriend about this. I was like, this is feel weird. I'm like part of the community because I'm listening to all the builders. I'm like watching streams. And then oftentimes I get this realization of like, wait, what the hell? I created this. So that's been really cool. That's also why I like doing these streams because it's like people go to watch the guy that created it, Jake, but then they see all these other people, and it's like we're all kind of like key people in the ecosystem, and it's not like one thing. Everything relies on one person. It's so good. But yeah, the biggest surprise was just everybody kind of following the build on Titan X ethos. Because it started, I even have the tweet out that like it started as a marketing campaign, like build on Titan X, like the hashtag.
And they did
and
it.
then everybody just ran with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was so good. So awesome to see.
That was like the only tweet, build on Titan X, build on Titan X, build on Titan X, and then we had Mike Dean's Excel sheets of like unknown projects. There was so many of them, and people came and go and stuff like that. And we were like so frantic, like who's gonna be on that list? Did we vouch for them? It was like that list was the holy grail list, like everybody was like, no, like did you that was the funniest shit, like, but look, it worked, right? Because we filter out all these projects, and the ones that said they were going to build, they build, and they're here, and you could use them right now, and they actually did what Jake was hoping for, right? And I'm not saying what Jake, all his ideas is the right way, right? Like, but the core principle of what he envisioned, it worked, right? Like, make sure, guys, whatever you build, you try to, bond it with Titan X, do it this way, and he explained his reasons why, and make sure you do your burns, and if you're gonna do it the right way, and it worked, man. Like, knock on wood, like so far everything's working phenomenally,
Yeah, that's actually funny to hear you say, just the way you put that there. Sometimes you don't even think of yourself as the founder. Like I even mentioned before, to see where it's kind of the ride that we've all been on for the last couple of years. It's just crazy, and it's funny for me to hear you say that. So yeah, fair play, well done to this point, and hopefully, onwards and upwards from here. But yeah, that spreadsheet that Mike Dean Titan X Hub in the first version, it's funny you say as well. What was it? There was this fucking Piro protocol. That's what spurred us. We were in the mastermind and seen this Piro white paper come out, and we're like, "What the fuck? We can do better than that. Let's start building. Game on, motherfuckers!"
Yeah, it's so crazy how much the community has matured, and I think it's only been 9 months. Like that Google sheet, like the initial Mike Dean Google sheet of like build on Titan X projects, that feels like when I was a kid. That feels 20 years ago now. Like, it's wild because he shared a screenshot, and I was like, damn, that's like nostalgia. It's like me listening to old music, even though it's only like a couple months ago. Yeah.
The chat's popping off here tonight. So many comments. I can't even keep up with them here tonight. So look, we'll start to wrap it up. Jake, is there anything coming up in particular that the community should look out for? Yeah, just anything in the really near future, or any sort of final thoughts or anything else you want to touch on. When you were on the stream the last time, you dropped obviously the alpha, or what you could use to get into X28. To see there's Shrey popping up with a comment already. X28. If you anything,
yeah, I know you can give details of it much, but can you give at least maybe a small summary of folks what it might be, or? or whatever you could. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is public now is it's an auction system. So people will use TitanX. You can use multiple forms of TitanX. You can use liquid TitanX, miners, active miners, or you can use stake TitanX to enter an auction. It's going to be a daily auction. It's heavy disinflationary. So it's not something that will last forever. But basically, you take your TitanX, you convert it into X28 via an auction, so people are forced to participate because the deal is too good.
Is it
So you
similar how
literally
Blazes a little bit?
Similar to what?
How Blazes with their auction or
Yeah,
something?
auction system is very similar. So it's going to be 24-hour auctions.
Cool.
People can enter with liquid TitanX, stake TitanX, or mine TitanX. There's other game mechanics around it, so people can play the system. Whatever action they take is beneficial to the entire ecosystem.
Yes.
So it has a lot of protective mechanisms built into it. But it's going to be an auction. It's heavily disinflationary, so people are going to be fighting for supply. X28 is going to be it's called an OFT, Omni-chain fungible token. So X28 can exist on all chains, but it all comes from Ethereum. So let's say that like 1 million supply, this is not the real number, but let's say there's only 1 million supply created on Ethereum. People have to bridge it out to other networks through the layer 0 protocol. And there's going to be UI on the website and everything like that. But that 1 million supply is the only supply that will ever exist. So it's not like X28 exists, the protocol itself, on all these other chains. It only gets created on Ethereum through TitanX. And then X28 exists on all chains. So people bridge out from Ethereum to Polygon, Matic, Blast, Base, Optimism, I think Solana is layer 0 supported.
Yeah.
But X28 will exist on all chains, and it's basically going to be the Omni-chain version of TitanX. And then builders can build multi-chain protocol that use X28 on all these distinctive chains because they all have different user bases.
Yeah.
And whatever happens to X28 on these chains happens to Ethereum, and it impacts TitanX. So everything always comes back to TitanX on Ethereum. So we don't create delusion. We create everything just a funnel back into TitanX on Ethereum.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go is right.
Right now, like while you're talking, you ever see that GIF where the guy's just there with like the charts and like going crazy and all that stuff? That's what's happening here, man. I'm like, let's go. That's awesome, dude. Like, that's what I love, man. Like, you guys don't give up, especially you, Jake, man. Kudos to you, dude. Like, you know, I heard some nasty shit people said about you. Of course, I heard about myself, but you know, like me, I'm used to it. It is what it is, right? But to hear from you and you did nothing wrong, or like, it sucks, right? And all you did was just build and build and build, and you release what you release, and whatever happens, happens, and you kept on and you continue to build. Now you're building something that we're able to touch multiple chains, right? You could have done it like another dev that we know that build a token, and then there's 20 different versions of that token, you know, they're all over the place, right? Now I mentioned the name, but or you could build one, and I guess in your sense is wrapped if they want to use it other, you know, chains and stuff like that, but it's still the original coin. Token is original coin attached to TitanX, and it will help the rest of the ecosystem. So that's phenomenal. You don't have to do it that way, right? You did, or you're doing it that way, right? So, dude, that's awesome, man. Like, I'm excited for that. I know a lot of people with other, you know, blockchains that want to, you know, test it out. That, oh, when it's gonna come on this side? How does that work? And they used to like, oh, there's gonna be another clone of the coin coming over here. No, like you get to actually use the original. So that's gonna be huge, man.
Yeah, that's a
huge,
massive thing. Being able to use the original coin, you know, and not having to go and having to get more funds to find, you know, to bat in every single chain. It's gonna be, it's gonna be awesome.
And I know, listen, I know you cannot talk about dates or times, and I know you love your eights and your numbers and all that stuff. So now we all gotta figure out when he's gonna release this, guys, like we did with everything else. Do you think it could be something like maybe under 6 months from now, or of course, you know,
for sure under 6 months.
Under September 28th. That's just me guessing,
right? But that'd be great. That'd be great. Listen, if it happens before end of year, phenomenal. Like everything will explode, right? But of course, no rush, man. Look, take your time. Listen, you release other products. It shows that they're working. So now I think more people was anxious in the past, right? They expect everything to go up, but now people are actually seeing what you built and what you continue to build is actually working. We saw it, guys. We saw it the past 2 weeks, right? Like there's no lies there, right? So, you know, kudos to you, man. I love what you're doing. You got my support. You already know. And I'm excited for what you do. I love seeing your journey, man. I love seeing what you're doing, and I love how you're a founder. You act like a regular buyer. You act like a regular user. You know, you always posting my favorite animes, you know, Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff, and that's what I'm into. And I can relate to you, man. Like we're just two pals just talking about crypto, trying to make it, you know. So it's awesome, man. Kudos to you, dude.
I mean, this is kind of the thing. So I've been in crypto since 2017, and with TitanX, I just wanted to fix everything. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, I get
I
it.
hate founders creating multiple coins, creating community segmentation, and then getting people to sell this thing to get into this thing, and fucking migration scamming, and launching on multiple chains, and the community doesn't know where to go, and like not liquidity bombing shit. So I was like, okay, the only way to fix this is to actually do it yourself, because nobody listens.
Yeah.
Unless you're like some massive big shot, and even then they don't listen.
Yeah.
So I wanted something where everybody could get in fairly, and I wanted something that I could actually talk to my girlfriend about, and my dad, and my mom, and get them in, and not feel bad about it, and not like, oh, maybe the founder is gonna fucking exit scam this shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, how do you create something where you can actually build and know that it cannot be rugged? Because, like, for example, the liquidity pool cannot be rugged. It's owned by the smart contracts. I couldn't even. Yeah, and another thing about all the hate, like in the beginning, I used to respond to hate and stuff.
Yeah,
But then I
man.
just started ignoring it.
Yeah.
But I still saw it. I've always loved hate because I have like a whole screenshot folder on my computer, and when I need motivation,
we all have that folder.
screenshots of all these tweets. Exactly. I'm like, oh, I'll show you fucking.
Bro, I have
You know,
tons,
so
man.
whenever I need fuel. Exactly. And that's kind of the embodiment. Like the reason I like anime is because like Goku never gave up. Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They'll go to Super Saiyan 100 if he needs to. Same thing with Bleach. Then you have One Piece.
Bleach. One
like
Piece
anime is a very exactly. I fucking love anime clips because it gets you fired up. You know, it kind of hits that testosterone spot.
Posting the Goku one where he's in the recovery time machine. You know, I'm like, because that's Titan X, right? Like, look, he got beat up. Just wait. You gotta see he's gonna come 10 times stronger. Just wait. It takes time. That's what happened, man.
Yep.
But you guys
somehow I'm a fucking generation ahead of you guys. Like I don't even know who any of these. I know who Goku is. I don't know who any of these other people are. I used to watch Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. They were my fucking motivation.
Yeah, man. Like, guys, I'm excited for this protocols, man. Blaze team, congratulations to you. Like, one of my favorite protocols that everybody knows Dragon X is my baby. Like, I love it. Hyper is my next baby. Blaze, I fell in love with the auction house. I play with that almost every day if I can. Helios was helping me out in the beginning with just flipping up my TitanX bags and stuff like that. I just like all the protocols. Now, Inferno just came out, and I'm playing with that a little bit. I'm not telling anybody to play with those things, but I'm just telling you, like, there's protocols out there that legitimately work, that actually do it if you do it the right way, and it could really help your bags. You don't have to just dump it. You want to go ahead, listen, that's your bags, right? But there's multiple ways to like, I don't think people realize like how fast you could build your bags really quick in this ecosystem. It's like everything multiplies on top of each other. If you do this, when that's done, bring it over here, split it in half, bring it over here, split it in half, and it just let it do its thing. And don't worry about price. Me, I don't care about the price. It is what it is. I've been in communities where I'm down 3-4 years. Like, it is what it is, right? Like, when you just accumulate the coins itself and multiply that and focus on that. Like, I don't know if you remember, Jake, in the beginning of Hyper, like I always talk about it, like I only focus on the ratio, right? I look at the ratio between Hyper and TitanX. I don't look at the price, right? Like, I look at when can I get more TitanX for my Hyper, you know? That's how I look at all these protocols. And then whenever I feel like the number's right, I make the switch and I accumulate that bag. And when I make it right, I just keep on doing it. And I don't sell all of it to the point where I can't keep on doing this. You understand what I mean? Like, I just want to make sure it's a evolving system. So that's just my plan. That's how I do things. And just learn the ecosystem, guys. There's a lot being built here. There's a lot more coming. Yo, Jake, you just made me super excited with X28. Like, holy shit. Like, if this works the flawless. And then farms outside of that, doing this and farms and everything else we have. Oh, man.
Get your TitanX bags ready for all this shit.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that's what you need. So guys, that's what you need first. Not only to buy it, but that's what you need to enter it. So do what you do with that information.
Yeah, do you know, Jake, I obviously built my Pulse Wars game over on Pulse, but there's a category of the NFTs that are called founders of the future. So I was picking out crypto founders. This is going back before TitanX was even launched. I was picking out 10 founders to create in these and embody the people in these NFTs. Richard Hart, Brian Armstrong, geez, I can't even think off the top of my head, but all the top chains, Solana, I've got all the founders of all the top chains, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put Jake in amongst all these people. And then, you know, when I was talking to people when I was doing it, going, why the fuck are you putting him in? Are you stupid? I thought, you know what? It could be an outside chance that he is one of the founders of the future. Not saying it happening, but look where we are now compared to where we were then. We're a hell of a lot closer to being, you know, a massive, you know, for you in the TitanX ecosystem, to being a massive, massive thing within crypto. You know, you look at the last cycle, people like Danny Sesta and, you know, just certain people that were really lauded for their awesome, you know, the awesome things that they built. And in my opinion, what we've got built here is better than most of the systems that have come before. So yeah, founders of the future, let's go, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of the crazy thing. Like, I just feel normal. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you keep building and you keep building. I'm like, what the fuck else am I supposed to do? I don't watch TV. I don't watch random stuff. I don't really go out and party. Like, the way I get enjoyment is working. Like it's the only thing, like progress. That's the only thing that makes me feel happy and makes me feel fulfilled. Like, for my girlfriend knows it. Like, when I don't have work, I get annoying as fuck because I don't know what to do. I'm like a nuclear bomb. I need to put it somewhere. So I have like endless energy. So like my default is work. I don't know anything else but work. It just makes me feel good. I mean, that it's, and especially now in crypto, it feels even better because I know that I'm using my time to do something extremely productive for 13,500 people currently, but that's going to get bigger. So whatever hours I put in, I'm helping like 13,000 people. That's a lot of people.
You're helping the future
So,
people. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Marco, does Donald Trump getting elected pump our bags and send us all to Valhalla?
Yeah, I hope, man. I hope, man. But you know, I think there's one important mission, thing that statement that should be said is what Jake said, right? Like, don't get like drawn into just your bags, right? Like, I mean, like, just don't make that your whole world, right? Like, you gotta have some balance to it, right? Like, have a hobby, have something you get to do outside. Like me and my wife, at least once a month, we like to go to EDM events, right? Like, I love rave parties, I love EDM. Like, I travel in the United States, I go to these events. Like, that's my thing. You know, it's just it keeps me sane, it keeps me happy instead of just being in charts all day. And then not only that, I spend as much as that time with my two kids, right? So you know, find your hobby, you know, plan your bag, stuff like that. But don't be like things gonna go up and down, guys. Like we're gonna pump 10x, we could go down 2-3x. It's gonna happen, right? Like just don't fight it. Just plan ahead, do what you got to do, stay sane, and stick to your plan, and just have fun, man. Like bull market is on the way here, real one. So just be happy, man. Just chill, you know.
Yeah, nice. So we're gonna just wrap it up here. Jake, have you anything you want to add before we or anything you want to say before we close it out?
One, a nicotine overdose, that's for sure.
I was about to say that. How about nicotine?
At least 7, so that's like 14 milligrams.
I'm going to do next time you're on the stream, I'm going to give away a Pulse Wars NFT if somebody guesses the correct amount of gum you chew during the stream.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, other than that, everything is good. Bull market is running, and the other thing is, I kind of designed TitanX in a way where when we enter a bear market, you can just keep building. Because this is such a good saying. It's like the way you make an old thing new is by building a new thing on top of the old thing. So TitanX can forever be new, which is something I even because it's such a unique thing because it's like an L1 within an L1. TitanX exists within Ethereum, and then people build on top of TitanX. So you have leverage on Ethereum, way lower market cap, way lower liquidity. It's way easier to push up and push up an entire ecosystem. And then after the bear market, you can just build something new on top of TitanX, and they're going to reignite everything. And then all of a sudden, like 20 protocols spring back to life. Community comes back again. So even after the TitanX is kind of designed to be bear market proof, not in terms of price, but in terms of being able to survive a bear market and come back, because it's kind of designed to do it. That was a big design idea, because you can just restart protocols and just build a completely new thing and just abandon the old community. But I didn't like that, so I also wanted to fix that. So by building on top of TitanX, you fix all of it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Nice. Marco, anything you want to add before we close it out?
My thing is very simple, right? Stick to your plan. You know your plan. My plan was, and I always yelled this since day one, was grab 1% of whatever protocol comes out. Do your best. You can't grab that 1%, grab half of that percent, or grab half of that percent, because at the beginning of all these protocols, right? Like 1% was only like $1,000, $500, right? Or a nice chunk of mints. And now some of these things are almost 6 figures or more, you know? A lot of new protocols came out. Not many holders at all. You could get a beautiful position if you want. That's your choice, you know. Of course, do your research, all that stuff. But you know, think about the long term. Think about how all these protocols work together, right? Think about how all the founders of these protocols are interacting. They're not strangers. They're not trying to rug each other or talk shit about each other or try to like hope one of them all fails, right? Like if one pumps, they're all excited, they're all happy, they're all giving each other tips and tricks. You could do the same thing, right? Just help your fellow, TitanX person or strangers out there, right? Like, or even if somebody was talking like I put this post the other day, right? Like even if you talk so much shit about me all year about TitanX and all that stuff, so what, right? Like, you want to come in my DM and if you have a real genuine question, I don't care. I'll help you out, right? Like I'll answer your question, whatever it is, right? But it is what it is after that, right? Like it is what it is. I let results talk. I love charts talk, and I let the community talk, right? The community's still here. Everybody thought it was going to be dead within 3-4 months, right? Stronger than ever, right? More projects than ever. The founder is doing something amazing recently. Like, just stay focused, man. And Jake, thank you for everything you built. Ali, you and your team, Helios, Dragon X, all you guys, thank you for what you built. You made this bear market fun. You made me, like you said, I have to do something, right? Like I have to be part of something. So thank you for that, man. I'm excited to see what the future brings, man. I'm here for it.
Awesome. Yeah. I just like to obviously then thank both of you for coming on the stream.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, look, cheers. It's always great to get you on, Marco, and you've been doing a great job championing the community, standing up for all our beliefs and all all what we're trying to achieve over here. So you've been a great advocate for the ecosystem. Thanks very much for that. And then Jake, yeah, continue doing what you're doing. Absolutely fine.
No more nicotine, man.
What?
No more nicotine, man.
No, it's gotta be late where you are, man. You gotta get to bed. But yeah, look,
yeah, it's like 2 a.m. here.
Congratulations so far, Jake. Doing a fantastic job, and yeah, things are looking really, really great for the future. So thanks very much, both of you, for coming on the stream.
Yeah, man, awesome, buddy.
And obviously, all the disclaimers: not financial advice, not legal advice, not accounting advice, not sexual advice. We're lucky enough this works, but all nuke to zero. All the legal disclaimers. Other than that, great stream, man. Enjoyed it. Yeah. I also I felt like I talked to Marco for forever.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was our first stream. It just feels like we've been talking forever.
Yeah, man. It's just like I said, like we, and the thing is this, like, and no bullshit. And it goes for any, like, I'll say this, right, to be so transparent. Anybody that have ever spoke to TitanX behind the scenes in DMs, you're free to share our DMs to the world, right? I never talk about insider shit because I don't know anything. I never tell people to FOMO buy. I never tell anybody to do anything. I share my excitement. I share what I know, and I always tell them, don't FOMO. I always put that, make sure don't FOMO. Learn the system, take your time, and stuff like that. Like, that's how I am. I'm super transparent with what I do. Even if I get arrows in my back, right? Like, I just do it. So, guys, enjoy, be happy, live life,
Awesome. All right, we'll wrap up the stream there, guys. Just before we go, the Blaze team, we're talking about all these protocols being built on TitanX. The Blaze team we do have 2 more protocols in the works. We're not saying they're ready to go, but we're still, we've always said we'll continue to build. We're blasting hard. We've got, we do have two protocols in the pipeline. Just just on Blaze as well. Rich Landon posted made a post there today that there's 78% of all liquid Blaze is either staked or in the liquidity pools. There's not a lot of liquid Blaze. People are doing a great job using the system. There's something like 40 odd diamond hand tickets. So Blaze is working fantastically. And then on the Inferno protocol this weekend, we're going into the 4th mint cycle of Inferno. We have brought in 1.3 trillion TitanX so far, and like I said, there's only 180 holders. There is something like 170k in the ban burn, which runs like clockwork every 30 minutes. And it's buying in about a 30 grand liquidity pool. So if you haven't checked out Inferno yet, please go and have a look. And if you have any questions about how it operates, jump into our Telegram. And we're happy there to answer any questions. So yes, the Blaze team, we've launched 2 flawless protocols within the TitanX ecosystem. We are here to stay. Real fucking DeFi, real fucking people. Onwards and upwards, everyone. Great to have you all here, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you guys. See you guys later, man.
Only